By the way, I am female, born that way, still that way, will die that way. But I'm going to give away one secret right now. Woohoo! You give away the secrets that no one believes anyway. It's too early in this evolution, which doesn't have to be like it is, to know this. But you can tell from the way the kids are now that they understand some part of it. And I think when they go other places, they really, really understand some part of it. So you're getting some more stuff about it. And the only way they know how to do it on the physical, which really sucks for them. So the point is, there's male energy and there's female energy. I'm not going left hand, right hand right now. And I don't mean everything to sound esoteric either. It's just whatever map I'm using at the time to speak. So there's male and female. And they're like this and like this a lot, you know, and whatever. A lot of like this a lot, right? And that's not a timeout. That's a pushing down. But it's not a male-female thing. It's a divisive thing. It's every divisive thing you've ever encountered or ever thought of or ever seen is around for a reason, because somebody wants it to be divisive. It's a way to consolidate power in another way. My point is male and female energy and energy in general. At a certain point, male and female comes together, because at a certain point, your physical body is no longer the end-all be-all of what encapsulates you. So the energy is one, and your energy is one. And so there's no longer a conflict between male and female in physical bodies, in abilities, in minds, and anything, because you are what is termed, whatever it's termed somewhere now. I had a word for it because that was a physical word, and I don't want to use that word because the new generations have come up with their own ways of saying things. The way they're trying to do it, trying to do it is brave and is correct on a very high spiritual level, but it is not going to be successful on the physical level. There is deep-rooted stuff against that kind of thing. I cheer everyone on, but I am aware of other things as well. But the point is, you're not wrong. Okay? It's like this, and eventually like this. And so there is no more conflict. Wouldn't that day be nice? So enough about that little secret, which is not particularly a secret because people are trying to make it that way on the physical. Once it's down on the physical, or on the physical, I won't say down, just say once it's on the physical and someone's trying to enact it on the physical, it is in an awareness that is greater than some person's wild idea. Okay, it is in the collective consciousness, and it is further than that because it is a high level spiritual. Again, I hate using that word because then you end up with conflicts, but I have no conflicts with actual inner esoteric spiritual knowledge. It's a high level thing that is true. So there you go. And I have two more little things before I do one more thing. We had to, in our home we had before that we had planned to, intended to stay in forever until we passed away. We needed a doorstop, so I ordered the universe for a doorstop. I thought I would be getting a big thing to use as a big doorstop. I got this. It is a little bitty universe, and it's got 2 points and a smile connecting them. Isn't that cute? I'm not saying this just to be absurd. I'm saying, I don't know what maps you're going by, but you better check them every freaking minute. Lastly, there's this thing again, which again, I don't try to sell. It would be good if someone wanted to read it, because it's got this gigantic amount of initiated, esoteric, high-level spiritual information in it. And I mean high level. And I mean, I wrote things in here that are now happening in different ways. And what happened is I was able to travel's the wrong word, travel means something else. I was able to walk planes in different ways, and make connections that way, relationships that way, which is how I ended up in some positions, and how some other people ended up in some positions that they really don't want to be in and don't want to acknowledge me for, because I am nothing here on ground as I was on the planes I met them on, and no one is. You forget that. So I have an ugly doll over here. My husband has an ugly doll, and I have one. And I try to remember if someone came to me looking like that. It was a great love of my life. I would need to really remember that and take them out of whatever weeds they were thrown in. Anyway, this book was called Heavy Bags with Soul, because I met, and I'm incisive in that way, because I am basically nothing but love, or was nothing but love. I was moved into defense at a certain point, so I am so defense oriented now too, but love was the initial thing and still is. It's just they're both there now, so big. This is an encapsulation of my meetings and my observations of so many others. I won't say spirits, I won't say souls, I won't say what or who. Some of them correspond to real people in this world, or in this reality, or perhaps other realities. And some of them in my physical world that I dealt with. But I am a deep thinker, learner, communicator, and so I read them. So they're written about too, not in any way that is named. I have even forgotten who half of these are about. And the other half, I was only partially lucid, because when you start walking levels, or going to different levels, the amount of mental ability and acuity it takes to stay fully lucid, especially if you're not wanted to be, is great. A great amount. And when I do this next thing, I'm going to try to do to put everything in order to make some sense, so I don't sound like a raving lunatic all the time. I will tell you what is what and how I know. But anyway, this is still something that is, I guess, my only masterpiece to date. I've written 8 books, but this is my only masterpiece. And as I mentioned in some other video, God only knows which one, because I've made too many. Never planned to. I had meticulously saved every piece of work I had done since I was a senior in high school. That's when I actually had some experiences from when I was young. And so I wrote those in there too. But I started meticulously documenting everything when I started real work as a senior in high school, all the way through decades. I won't go into what happened. I'm just going to say I had decades worth of stuff that I could have written that were masterpieces. To me, would be valuable information to others, and cannot do it because they no longer exist in any kind of form that I can get to. So I was stupid enough to let someone talk me out of it and just toss it. You have to understand there's a path that tosses everything. There's a path that erases everything as it goes. So there is no trace of it having been. So I was partially like that, but I wasn't like that about this, because I had things that I wanted to impart on what I had planned to be my only excursion on this particular state of being. Anyway. Only other thing I'm going to say, I'm going to read you one part of this, because it's the best part of it. It's not about a person, it's about a thing. So, listen up. Oh, and I say I'm female, and I am. Never been anything but female. Nothing against anything else, just very female. But very much tomboy when I was a kid. If you see pictures around, you'll see I was very much a tomboy. I was very into nature. I communed with nature daily, alone. Don't ask me what I did for hours in a forest by myself. I just did. So there's that. And then there's my writing. My writing is very direct and straightforward and tends to be thought of as male writing, because male writers sell better than female writers, but more than that, they're respected more than female writers. I use my initials for all of my writing instead of my name, so nobody knew ever whether I was male or female. And I did that on purpose. And when I went to work for a certain number of large organizations, I used my initials as well, so nobody ever knew who they were meeting. It was just my initials. Anyway, this is the best part I can give to you from this. Okay, it's an afterword, and it should have been a foreword. And boy, is it true. And boy, do you not ever want to be where I am. And I mean that so sincerely. I'm saying, do not run away from me. Listen to everything you can glean while you can and while I'm around. So, it says, I am not a teacher. I am an explorer. It took me a while to figure that out. Teachers have students and followers. Learn to discern the helpful fools here. There are a lot of people who will be very helpful to you, to teach you or to show you, to mentor you something. And they are either deliberately misdirecting you or just clueless. So there's lesson one of what you have to figure out. Teachers have students and followers. A teacher should demonstrate a distinct level of attainment. That's what that means. Have they actually attained something worth teaching? Can they impart it to you? Teachers value passing on a set tradition. Learn to discern the shearers here. There are so many traditions. There are so many paths. There are so many ways. And again, it seems like I'm talking about spiritual, but I could be talking about astrophysics. I could be talking about languages. I could be talking about anything, because there are teachers and students and mentors and everything. And they need to have reached a certain level of mastery. They need to be able to communicate it to you in some way. And they need to be correct. And you need to know, as their student, that they are going to pass on their tradition. So it doesn't behoove you to like rebel against every single thing they say, because they know what they know. So take what they know, if they know something, and use it, or take it into yourself. And then, when it's no longer something that benefits you or something that moves you forward, you go somewhere else, or you use it to yourself, or you learn more yourself. So they value passing on a set tradition, their tradition. Students using a teacher's specific method can learn mastery to a certain point, depending on the level of the teacher. Again, so many paths, so many disciplines, so many everything. Where did that person stop their journey? Was it really the end? I doubt it, because there is no end. Find someone who is not still working on a path or discipline. Like scientists, they never stop. At least has made it to a certain point that's valuable to you. When I say learn to discern the shearers here, I mean there is a great number of cult-like, ego-ridden, knowing or not knowing, whatever, beings that, entities, whatever, people that are really just out, no matter what they seem like or sound like, to get what they can get from you. And again, it's up to you, dear student, dear person, dear someone trying to find, dear seeker. Boy, are those guileless, gullible words. And yet, no, there you are. Explorers, on the other hand, should probably not be followed. I'm going to amend that now and say explorers should be monitored in some way at all times until they're dead. Yeah, I truly believe that now, for really good reasons. Explorers get lost, get stranded on cliffs, and are often in danger of rock slides, if not worse. Explorers take the wrong way until they learn a better way, and they do not hold the belief that any particular level of mastery is either the best or the final. And that's why explorers are always not particularly held in high regard by all the ones that claim they are the gurus and masters and teachers, are, depending on how devoted they were to what they're doing, are in danger often, are able to communicate in so many different ways from having to do what they did, have been hurt along the way, more than once, most likely, because of what they do. And works better if they're not alone. Not having the particular belief that any level of mastery is either the best or the final puts you at odds with every single person and every single religion and every single final outcome of anything. So keep it to yourself, or just get ready to argue a lot. But I don't recommend arguing a lot. It just wastes your time. I found the truth in everything and used that, and let the rest go. An explorer should hold 100 maps in mind at any given time, each one used until accurately and validly supplanted by a better one. I can't tell you how important that is. 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 Learn to discern the dabblers here. Sure, we go that way. It takes you to there. That person, may have traveled a footpath one time and it took them somewhere, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best way, the way it's going to take you to the way you want to go or anything else. People dabble. Does it mean there's anything wrong with them? They may have some knowledge, may have some experience, some material, something for you. Maybe a good person just to know. Most importantly, an explorer translates experience. Learn to discern the liars here. Explorers value discovery. Glean what you can from all. So explorers aren't very helpful if they can't actually translate what they've explored. And we've done that with space, with ground, with the earth, with the mind, with the body, with different things that we say that we've done. Well, when you're exploring things that are not necessarily explored often or by many or well known or talked about, it's important to translate it. And by translate, I mean have some receptor somewhere that understands it. The best or the least you can do is write it down, right? Much better if you have others who have been on some of the same paths or been through some of the same experiences, met some of the same whoever's, and can help validate. But an explorer translates. So when I say 100 maps in your head, I'm not joking. And when I say I speak like 100 languages, I'm not joking either. But those languages are exploration, esoteric, communicative languages of all type. They are not geopolitical languages. They are real communication, though. Learn to tell those who like to talk and those who like to use words and bog you down with words from real communication, from someone who desires real communication. It is gold. And some of that comes through other means that you might not have thought about, such as, books, of course, science, scientific papers, research, poetry, writing, science fiction, spiritual books, personal diaries, personal published information in papers, personal experiences written down, someone who stops you on the street and has a conversation with you, someone who you meet often, the same restaurant or same bus stop or something, and have a conversation with. You just don't know. But you do have to learn the difference between the waste of your time and real communication. And those that know how to screw people up with what seems like communication and is not are just a dime a dozen, and they are just so irritating, I can't tell you. And they do so much damage to those who might benefit otherwise. I cannot even describe that either. So anyway, that's this book, Heavy Bags of Soul, full of truths, blah, blah, blah. One more thing. Then I'm going to have to figure out how to write a stupid book without writing it